Good morning, everybody. We're back home, back from the international. Now, I wanted to do a little bit of a recap video and I kind of tell you about my experience, our experiences there, and just kind of talk about the international, I suppose, right? Then I also wanted to show off a little bit more of the laptop because I haven't really actually gotten to show you how it performs yet, and I think that's really important when talking about a computer. And then I also want to give you guys a little bit of a, just kind of like what the next plans are, what the plans for the immediate future are thing. Just kind of like tell you what's gonna be going on from now. So yeah, first things first, may I have the camera? Now, the big question of course is, does the laptop run Dota? And I got a replay for you right here. So look at this. Runs it absolutely beautifully. Absolutely beautifully, right? Graphical fidelity is all there, frame rate top notch. It just runs it perfectly. And honestly, this is just kind of the thing, right? This laptop is really, really strong. Now, let me actually go ahead and stress test this a little, just to kind of, make it a bit more interesting. So I got open broadcaster software right here. I'm gonna start recording this. Now, right now we're playing Dota as well as recording Dota, right? And as you can see, by the way, the sound is being weird. That's not the laptop, that's Windows 10. I don't really know how to change that. Like, I disabled the don't go quieter when doing something else option, but it still does it, and I don't really know, man. But either way, the thing is, this is just kind of, oh, I died. But this is just kind of Dota running while also being recorded. And as you can see, the laptop doesn't even care. Now let's make it even a little bit more interesting. And we're gonna add another device in there. So we're gonna add in our webcam. So you can see, hello, that's us right there, down there. And I'm gonna now stop using this camera to show on the screen. Instead, you're going to see the recording of, the in-game thing there. Also just chilling. And this game, by the way, was played at a friend's place. So we met some friends at TI, a friend of mine, Chris, which I had known for quite a while. We finally got to hang out, and we went over to their place because they had an Airbnb whole house to themselves, and it was like a group of 8 guys or something. We just went there and played a little bit of Dota for 2 evenings. And this is one of the games we played, with a little bit of an in-house. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I really felt like being an asshole with Alchemist. I felt like that was very appropriate. But anyway, thing is that, as you can see, this runs absolutely flawlessly. The recording is beautiful and all of that. Even with adding another layer on top of that with the webcam, right? And the more layers you add, or the more devices you add, the more difficult it becomes to run. But anyway, so now I don't just want to show off Dota, of course. We're also going to show off a little bit of a different game. So the game that I've actually been mostly playing on Dota. Did you crash on us? I feel like Dota just crashed on us. Thanks, Dota. Ah, there we go. The game that I've actually been mostly playing on this computer is Dark Souls 2. Right? Not even Dota 2, I haven't played that much of that. But I've played a lot of Dark Souls 2 because I can play that on the airplane. So, and, the internet at the place we were at wasn't really that great, so couldn't really play Dota on that. But, yeah, this is Dark Souls 2. I've actually been enjoying this game a lot more the second time around. But I just kind of want to show you what it looks like, because this is a game that actually looks really, really nice. It's quite beautiful. And we'll go into that in a second once we get through all of that. There we go. Pay attention to how quickly this loads. Initializing online mode. Okay. And this is the loading screen. And we're in. Look at that. Look at how short that loading screen was there for. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just really impressive how strong this computer is. And as you can see right there, screen isn't really that clean. But as you can see right there, it runs absolutely beautifully. I'm actually gonna go ahead and go back to Medulla really quick so you guys can see. First of all, again, pay attention to how quickly this loads. Well, I'm happy with it, I guess. Right? But this right here, it's Medulla. And as you can see, absolutely beautiful. Right, it just runs perfectly. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just really happy with this machine, right? That's my entire point. I'm just really happy with this. The computer is very, very strong. It is also very heavy. I have mentioned this every single time we've talked about it, but I just bring that up because I think it's important, right? The computer is very heavy though. And as a result, honestly, I personally see this machine as less of like a laptop, right? And more of a portable tower, right? It's really something that you take along because you want to have a strong machine that you can play video games on. Or as I did, I edited videos on that, right? I made the Monkey King video on that. I edited it with Sony Vegas. I had no issues at all. The program ran absolutely flawlessly. It rendered at a nice pace. It's just a good machine. Now, you guys know that you can't buy my opinion, right? I'm already in a little bit of trouble because of the videos I've made so far about the laptop. And I'm not just making this video to like kind of sell out. No, I just genuinely wanted to tell you my experience with the computer, right? So anyway, that's the last time we're gonna talk about that. At least I think so. Another thing I really quickly wanted to bring up is over here. You can see we have a second laptop. This is a Predator X17. Now this is not actually our laptop. They accidentally sent that to us. And we're probably gonna have to send it back. It's just like I want to keep it. This is a 5,000 euro computer. I really actually, please. But now we're gonna have to send that back. That just got here on accident. I should never have said something. That was our mistake. Right? Like, because we got the computer and then I'm like, I'm messaging my folks at the ESL. I'm just like, yo, is that intentional? And they're like, oh no, that is not intentional. You're probably gonna have to send that back. I'm like, damn it! Should never have brought it up. We could have had the computer. Well. So yeah, anyway, that's enough about that. We're gonna change scenes really quickly. Okay, so I have been on a few flights that were quite long recently. And this was part of that as well, right? Like there, we went on a 2-hour flight to Paris and then an 11-hour flight to Seattle and back 5 hours to Atlanta and then 9 hours to Stuttgart. Now, look, I hate long flights just because there's not enough leg space for me, right? She doesn't really have that problem. Like she doesn't really have...
I have short legs.
Okay.
See?
Do you need to do this? Okay, good short legs, nice stumpy legs.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I never have enough leg space, and it's just awful. Like I can't really sleep on flights, so I always need to keep myself entertained. And luckily enough, okay, of course, they have the little TVs in the in the seats in front of you, so you can always watch something. And one thing I, for the life of me, just don't understand is why the hell do they have TV shows, right? But then always just some random episodes, right? Like they had Game of Thrones, but it was like season 3, episode 8, and season 5, episode 4. And I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? Like this is so pointless. They had It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, 2 episodes from, again, 2 different seasons at like random points. And I'm just like, I really would like to watch more of this, right? And honestly, this is the perfect time for it as well, isn't it? Right? Like, if you're gonna binge watch a TV show, flight sounds like a good place to do it, right? I don't really have anything else going on. That would be fantastic.
Get Netflix to sponsor flights, or just get Netflix on flights.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Right? But instead, I'm stuck watching like 2 episodes of nonsense, and it's just like, this is just awful. Right, I don't really understand that. Now, luckily they have a bunch of movies as well. What did I watch? I watched the new Captain America. Finally, it took me forever. It's actually pretty good. I really liked Spider-Man. Spider-Man was cool. Although, one thing that I think is really interesting about Spider-Man, I think people have brought it up before, but with every new incarnation of Spider-Man, his aunt becomes younger and more beautiful. And it's just like, wait, originally she was this like grandma in the first movie. And they just keep making her younger and prettier, and it's just like, okay, all right, good movie. But anyway, Yeah, so flights aren't really that fun. But then we got to America, you know, we got ourselves a cab to our Airbnb, and then the first day we just kind of chilled and walked around a little bit.
We went to the zoo.
No, that wasn't the first day. That was the second day.
Okay.
Yeah, on the first day we just kind of chilled, walked around a little bit, got us SIM cards. Now, while we were buying the SIM cards, we had a discussion because they offered SIM cards. We wanted just one-time SIM cards, right? No contract or anything like that because we just wanted SIM cards for 10 days. So we had a discussion because, first of all, the SIM cards are super expensive. They were $30 each for the cheap option and $35 for the more expensive one. Now, the $30 option came with 180 megabytes of data, while the 35 came with 4 gigabytes. Well, why would I not want the 4 gigabyte one? Because at home here we have 750 megabytes a month. And we've only had that for like 3 months. Before that we had 300 megabytes a month. And with 300 megabytes a month, which I had for a year, right, I was fine. I never ran out of data. The earliest I ran out of data is like 1 day before it got reset at the end of the month, right? So it's really something where I was just like, okay, you know what, for 10 days, 180 megabytes is enough. And I understand that 4 gigabytes, right, would be nicer, but it's also unnecessary, right? And I'm just kind of saving, you know, some money. It's not a lot of money, but it's still money saved, and there's really no point to having the 4 gigabyte option because we're not even going to use the 80 megabytes, right? Next up, we ended up using 180 megabytes in 1 day each. I just don't know how that's even possible, right? Like, this is actually something that's been blowing my mind ever since. Like, does America use more data somehow, right? Do you like burn through your data more quickly? Because again, I've been using 300 megabytes a month, like, for a year, right? I had that for actually longer than a year, more like 3 years now that I think about it, for a long ass time, and it was always fine. And in America, I burned through 180 megabytes in a day, and I didn't do anything different than I usually do, right? I used my phone exactly how I would usually use it. And that was just mind-blowing to me, how this just ended up like, oh my god, we just don't have any internet anymore. Now, that was a little bit annoying, but I wasn't gonna go spend another, you know, $70 on getting us new SIM cards or new data or anything like that, so whatever. Right, ended up working out fine. But anyway, it just blew my mind that we burned through the data that quickly. Right, that was actually really, really crazy. One thing that also really surprised me is that America is actually a place where the whole like hipster and gluten-free and all of that culture actually exists. That's something I really didn't think that was actually real. I gotta admit, I didn't think that was real, right? I always saw people on the internet, you know, talking shit about hipsters and stuff. But honestly, I thought that like hipster, right, that entire thing is just, it's just a thing that like 5 people on the planet do, and people just like making fun of it because it's stupid or it's silly. And no though, like where we were in Fremont, you could really actually kind of experience that hipster culture, right, and the gluten-free culture. And I just thought that was really weird because like around here, none of that exists, right? And that to me is like the biggest culture shock I experienced. That, for example, like a lot of stores advertise themselves as gluten-free. And now the thing is, actually, funnily enough, we kind of live gluten-free, but that's because Mickey is celiac, so she can't eat gluten, and I just kind of follow along because I don't really care, right? But the thing is that over there, it's like a trend, right? It's like people do it because it's cool. I don't really understand that because, like, objectively speaking, gluten-free food at its best tastes the same as non-gluten-free food, right? At its best. At its worst, all right, or anything less than at its best, it tastes worse. So it's just like, why would you put yourself through that? I don't really understand that. Oh well. I honestly always thought people were kind of joking about that, like actually being a real thing. But our Airbnb host as well is like, I do gluten-free. And I'm just like, why? There's no actual health benefits unless you're celiac. I don't really get it. I don't really get that. But oh well. enough about that. I'm not really here to just talk about America. I actually kind of want to talk about the international as well. So the international overall, I thought was really nice. Like it was actually like really cool. They had the Key Arena, which was a little smaller than I expected. It was like it was still a cool arena, right? They had, of course, the best production you'll find. They had the outside section, which I thought was amazing because you can just go outside and sit in the grass and watch some Dota on the screen. That was really cool. And they also had the whole thing where you have a chance to get random item drops. We only got one each, which I thought was really sad. I really wanted more. I specifically wanted the Wraith King item. I know the Draw Ranger one is all the hype, which it's sick, right? But I really wanted the Wraith King item. Didn't get it. That's a shame. I got the Patch one though. If anybody wants the Patch one, I'll trade it for the Wraith King item. Okay, give me that. But anyway. It's also like cool to like get to see all of the people, that you usually only see online. Although I've seen a lot of them before, just because I've been around for a little while. You kind of get to see people after a certain point. I was actually kind of cool to see them at the arena. But a funny thing that happened is on the flight back at the airport, in the Seattle airport, we were in a TSA line, right? And right in front of us was Newbie. Right, the entire squad of Newbie was just right in front of us. And we didn't talk to them because, that's not the place to do that. But I still thought that was kind of funny, right? But yeah. The games were fucking sick. Like, seriously, that was the best Dota that has ever been played. Like, this international by far had the best games of Dota ever. It was actually crazy, right? Honestly, the grand finals, a little disappointing, right? Like Wings versus DC. I know the 3-1 doesn't look really that crazy, but honestly, the only reason why DC won a game is because Wings threw a game, and none of the other games were really all that exciting. So the grand finals were a little bit disappointing to me. But the thing is that it was predetermined. DC never stood a chance, because think about this, right? TI won. Navi won, TI2, IG won, right? So West won, East won, TI3, Alliance won, West won, TI4, Newbie won, East won, TI5, EG won, West won. So the only logical conclusion is that TI6, Wings has to win, an Eastern team has to win. And they did. So the cycle continues. But outside of the grand finals, right, the games were just incredible. So many beautiful games. Everybody's favorite, of course, is eHome versus EG. I think it was game 1, or was it game 2? I think it was game 1, right? Like, that was just incredible. But actually, the game I really liked the most was Fnatic versus Liquid, where they made that huge comeback of like 20,000 gold. That was so cool. It was so cool to see in person too. That was really fun. Yeah, no, that was actually just super exciting, right? That was super exciting. And then, of course, they announced Monkey King and Underlord. That was also pretty cool. I mean, Underlord, everybody saw that coming, right? We all knew Pit Lord was going to get put into the game. Monkey King, though, people didn't really expect it, right? And honestly, like, in the arena, so we were just sitting in our little Red Sports Club section where we played Smash, right? And we were playing Smash because the game that was going on wasn't really that interesting. We didn't really care about the All-Star match. Right, so we just kind of went and played some Smash instead. And then afterwards, the whole like drum thing starts, and then like the little monkey dudes, like the guys that were dressed up like as monkeys, keep like start their little performance on in the arena. So we like put down our controllers and go in and check out what's going on. And everybody I knew, right, everybody around us was just like, "What is happening? This is so weird. What are they doing?" And then after they reveal them, after they are done, right, they reveal the Monkey King, and it all made sense. That like for that previous 3 minutes or something where they did that performance, it was just really weird. Like you're there what is happening? But yeah, it was really cool. I'm really excited for Monkey King too. But you guys hopefully saw the analysis. What else? I got my notes here. I got the little notebook. I don't know. I just didn't want to forget anything. Usually I don't really take that many notes, but I actually do have my notes for the Monkey King. Monkey King video in here too, which is just, I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, so we didn't just spend all day in the arena, right? And we often went outside, so we had to come back in, and when we wanted to watch some games, we had to look for new seats. And something I noticed, which I think is just kind of a little bit odd, because that doesn't really happen as much here, from my experience, but it still happens, but not as much, right? Is that people were holding seats a lot. Now, I have no problem with the general idea of holding a seat for somebody, right? Like sometimes you're watching games and one of your friends has to go to the bathroom, and I get that, right? Like absolutely. But I feel like there's a limit to how long you can hold a seat, right? I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like you cannot hold a seat forever, right? After like 15 minutes, if somebody doesn't show up for like 15 minutes after they left their seat, the seat becomes vacant, right? Like they just kind of lose the right to that seat. Is that just me? Like I feel like that's the like agreement there, right? Like after like 15 minutes, that seems like an appropriate amount of time. You just lose the seat. Now somebody else can sit there. You had your window of opportunity. You didn't take it. You're out. What happened a lot, and I started paying attention to this, is we went looking for seats, right? And then we asked people, can we sit there? And then they always said, no, these seats are taken. Or we are holding them. Now, because this happens so frequently, I started paying attention to if somebody actually comes back to those seats. And like 80% of the time, they didn't. Right? Like 80% of the time, nobody showed up. Which is just like, okay, so either you don't want us sitting there, which, right? Like, I mean, really, there could be worse people you could be sitting next to, right? We're not loud, we're not smelly, we're not overly fat, so we have to, take up 3 seats or something like that. No. We're just gonna be sitting there quietly watching our game. But I suppose you don't want us sitting next to you, right? But it's just like, come on, right? Like how incredibly selfish is that? And it happened a lot. One time, we went up to a guy and asked him if we could, sit next to him. And he's like, no, the seats are taken. All right, I'm holding on to these seats. And we're just like, well, can we sit there until they come back? And he's like, I guess, right? I suppose he didn't expect that. So we sit down there and we watch 2 full games of Dota. And then we just leave because, the set is over. But we watched 2 full games of Dota and nobody shows up. And this happened all the time. Like, again, I was paying attention to it and nobody ever... And I'm just like, oh my God. Holy fuck. Why? That was just so annoying. That was the worst fucking part. Anyway. I don't think I'll be going back to the international though. Honestly, while it was fun, right, I don't think it was worth the trip. No, well, actually, let me take that back. It was worth the trip in terms of having done it, right? Like, it's really one of those things where I'm glad I did it. I'm glad we went to the international, right? But knowing what I now know and what I have now experienced, I don't think I'll be going again. At least not out of my own pocket. Because it's just not really worth that, right? While it's a fun event, it's really worth like $3,000, right? Which is about as much as it cost us. Well, probably a little less than that, but is it really worth that much money? Not really, not in my opinion at least. It's just a matter of you kind of, you just kind of go there and you watch games, and I guess that's what you would expect, right? But the same thing can be done wherever you're from, right? So if you aren't going to the international, or if you would like to, but you can't afford it or anything like that, dude, as somebody that just went, and as somebody that has been to a lot of smaller events, like I went to just casual public viewing of the international last year, right? And honestly, that was just as much fun. Probably even a little bit more because you have more leg room, right? We still had a nice screen. We just kind of sat outside, chilling, watching the games. And yeah, of course, I mean, you don't have to play us right there or anything like that, but that doesn't really make a difference. Like, because in the end, at the international, you're still looking at a screen, and on the screen is still being played what happens on the stream, Right? It's not like anything other than that is going on. And, you know, I don't really know, right? Like, honestly, like, if you are someone who's just like, oh, I wish I could go. Dude, I feel like what you should do is just, you know, just go to, like, some smaller events nearby. And honestly, you'll have the exact same amount of fun, right? With the ESL1, doing dollar tournaments around Germany, and with the European major, you know, that we're gonna have once a year. Frankly, to me, that's enough. I don't really need the international. And I gotta admit too that I thought that as just an event to watch games, to watch Dota, the Frankfurt major was actually better. Because you had more leg space. It's just really important to me that I'm comfortable while watching, right? Like, that is really important to me. I like having a leg space because, you know, that just makes it so much more fun. That makes it so much more fun to me. But yeah. So I don't think I'll be going again. But nonetheless, I'm not unhappy that I did go. Now, if you guys ever end up going to Seattle, two things that I actually think are worth doing is go to the zoo in Fremont and go to the aquarium. Now, the aquarium is a little expensive, so if you can't really afford that, right, like, honestly, it's not a big aquarium. It's really small. It is really small. And in terms of, like, you know, investment money return, like per hour or something like that, it doesn't have a good ratio. But it's still fun. Like, it's still a nice aquarium. Yeah, right, it's a good aquarium.
It's a good aquarium.
It's a good aquarium.
Nice.
It's very small, but for what it is, it's like it's really a matter of quality over quantity there, right? They don't have a lot of quantity, but they have a lot of really, really solid quality.
Like, the thing that sold it for me was the fact that they have, like, rock pool simulator, and you can actually, like, pet the starfish.
You can touch the jellyfish and such. It's
no,
really cool.
not the jellyfish, anemones.
Oh, not the jellyfish, I'm sorry. Yeah, starfish. Same thing, barely. Anyway, and the second one is, again, go to the zoo in Fremont. The zoo is actually really nice. It's definitely one of the nicest zoos we went to, and we go to a zoo in basically every city we go to. Like, that's our thing. It's
called Woodland Park Zoo.
Yeah, it's really nice. It is actually probably the nicest thing I have seen in Seattle, or like I saw in Seattle. Definitely had more fun at that zoo than at the International, right? And that's not saying the International wasn't good. It's just saying that's a great zoo. So, I would say go there as well.
There were bears and otters.
They had everything, and the otters were amazing.
And wolves. I've never seen wolves at a zoo.
Yeah,
that's cool.
They had everything. It was actually really nice. But anyway, so I kind of just want to finish this up by talking about what the plans are from here. Now, in 2.5 weeks, the lady that is standing behind the camera is going to be going to school. She's going to be learning German. Now, this means that 4 days a week for about 5 to 6 hours, I got the house to myself. Which means that I have a lot more time to record, right? And on top of that, a lot of the things that I had to take care of previously, which was like, you know, hooking her up with a bank account, making sure she gets to stay here, doing employment stuff, even though I'm not entirely done with that and I still need to do taxes, but you know, still. Taking care of all kinds of manner of things. That's all out of the way now. Right now, my only plan for the next few weeks is to work, which means I get to do a lot of the stuff that I've wanted to do for a while now. So that's gonna be nice, right? We can hopefully make some more guides. Right now, I'm probably gonna be chilling for like 2 or 3 more days, just because we just got back and I want to relax a little bit. But then we'll just going, you know, full power back into work. Now, another thing that's also somewhat related is the merch store is going to be coming up soon. I was told at the end of August. Now we are very quickly approaching the end of August. So while I personally don't really have any new info yet, I'm just kind of here to remind you that the merch store is going to be going up soon, and then hopefully we'll have some nice merchandise, right? If you want to know what it looks like, you can already go on my Facebook page. You'll find the images there. But anyway, so yeah, that's this video. Now, another thing I wanted to ask you guys is, what do you guys think about the real life videos? We have done a lot of them recently, you know, these vlogs. Did you guys enjoy them? Do you want to see more of them? Do you want to see different things? You know, what I thought might be interesting is to just kind of like show you where we are from, what living here is like. You know, just kind of taking you on like a little trip to like you know, like kind of going outside, going up to stores, getting some food there, coming back down here, maybe cooking something, you know, kind of that. I don't know. So showing you around the place a little bit. But you guys let me know what you think. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know this was a little bit of a mess, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.